name is Miss Sarah, and I'm here to tell you a little about the flute. Now, the flute is the highest instrument in the woodwind family, which in the orchestra also includes the oboe, the clarinet, and the bassoon. Now, of all the woodwind instruments in the orchestra, the flute is the only instrument that does not use a reed. And a reed is a small piece of wood that we make vibrate with our air, and that produces sound. But on the flute, we don't have a reed, so we have to blow at a downward angle across this little opening called a tone hole. The air vibrates in the tube, and that is what produces sound. Now, there are a lot of cool things that you can do on the flute. For example, I can play a lot of very low notes and a lot of high notes. So I have a very wide range of notes that I can play on the flute. I can also play piano, or very soft. I can play forte. And I can play staccato, or short and light. Or I can play legato, connected and smooth. So there's a lot that I can do on the flute. And the flute also comes apart into 3 different parts or joints. Now, the part that we blow into is called the head joint. This is where this is really where the sound originates. It's very important. And the rest of the flute, you can see, has these, well, some people call them buttons, but they're actually called keys. And the part of the flute with the keys on it comes apart into 2 even smaller joints. The biggest is the body, and the smallest is the foot joint. So just like our bodies, we have a head, a body, and feet. The flute has a head joint, a body, and a foot joint. Now, most of a first flute lesson, if you decide to try the flute, is spent on working on just the head joint, since this is where the sound starts. And we spend a lot of time talking about where to place the flute on your lips so that we make sure that you're not too high or too low. And we talk about how to form an embouchure, which is what we call the formation of the lips. And we spend a lot of time just figuring out how to make a sound come out on the head joint alone. So that's what it sounds like when you just play the head joint. Now, the next thing we learn is to put a T, the letter T, in front of your sound every time you make a sound on the head joint. So instead of hoo, we're saying two. Now, some people, if that goes really well in the first lesson and some students want to learn a little more, you can actually learn to play a song on the head joint alone. And I achieved that by uncovering and covering some of the very end of the head joint, and that's a lot of fun. Sometimes by the second lesson, by the second week, we're ready to put the flute together. And when we do that, we learn the first 3 notes we learn are B, A, and G. And if some students are worried about, what if I don't remember where to put my fingers when I take my instrument home to practice? And that's not a problem, because we put these little felt stickers on the appropriate key, and that way you remember where to put your fingers when you take the flute home to practice. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning about the flute today, and I hope you have a nice day.